So Councilmember Lynn Hurtak is here with me today. Lynn, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for doing the show. I feel like it's been a long time coming. We got coffee a few months ago and talked about so many great things, and I'm excited to do this today with you.
Yeah, me too. There's so much to talk about. This city is just, on fire.
It really is on fire. Yeah, it seems like as different cities around the country are having certain challenges, we just keep going on the up and up and up and up. Although we do have some growing pains,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
As comes with any growth, challenges occur, but we'll talk about a few today.
Yeah.
The first thing I wanted to start out with, though, is sort of how you became a member of Tampa City Council. At Coffee, we just spoke about your efforts in advocating for different causes and grassroots organizations, and you were even talking about you've done some work with, was it
USAID.
USAID
AID.
overseas, work in Africa and stuff like that. Talk to me about how you became a member of Tampa City Council.
Well, thank you. My background, I was born here in Forest Hills in the late 70s. And then in 1980, my parents, 82, we moved up to Gainesville. So I called it K to college up in Gainesville. And we still had really good friends back here. My dad had a business here. So we were back here
Sure.
often enough. But yeah, I spent 30 years in Gainesville. I was a Title I elementary school teacher and actually a journalist for a little bit before that. And
Oh, wow.
then I was a Title I elementary school teacher. I taught for 10 years. And then, I gave
Did you
it.
go to UF?
Yeah, I did. Both
Oh
of my
my gosh.
degrees. I grew up 8 blocks from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
Oh, wow.
We could hear the crowds roar. And back then, that was pre 9/11. So at the end of the third quarter, they just let anybody in. So my dad and I would watch the games at home, and if it was a really good game, because this is the Spurrier era. Spurrier came in 1990, and that's kind of that time when I was in high school. And so if the third quarter was really good, by the end of the third quarter, we'd like hop up and run to the stadium and like watch the end of the game together.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, fabulous.
Yeah, you definitely can't do that today.
No, you can't.
So you were that college girl, like, wait, you're from Gainesville?
I'm
sure
an
you got
ACR.
that all the time.
It's called that was the slur at the time was an ACR. You're an Alachua County resident.
Yeah, I remember in Tallahassee meeting someone who went to Florida State who was from Tallahassee. It was always like, what? You're from Tally? What was it like growing up here? Oh my God. That's funny. So you were a teacher for a decade, or were you a journalist first, or where did journalism come into the picture?
I worked at the student newspaper,
Got
and
it.
I thought I was going to be a journalist. I wanted to cover national politics. That's what I was. I wanted to be a political journalist. I was so excited about it. And then it was like the Bill Clinton years,
Right.
with the what does is mean, or just that whole the Monica Lewinsky scandal. And I was
Sure.
like, okay, this is not what I want to do. But I took this class called The Politics of Poverty, and I had to read Kozol. If you haven't read Jonathan Kozol, he's phenomenal, all about inner city schools and the struggles. It really touched me. And part of that class is we had to volunteer at a school. And so I went back to my elementary school and volunteered there. And I fell in love. Like I had the greatest, the teacher that I worked with was so phenomenal. And she's like, you have a gift for this. You should go into education. And I was like, okay. So I was a substitute teacher at that school. I got my master's at night because that was one of the things you could do back then. And I taught it. I worked at the school during the day. Interviewed with the principal. Got hired. I never worked anywhere else. I worked at the school I went to as a kid.
Wow.
I subbed other places, but I only taught at that one school, and it was such a unique space. Because that school had Gainesville's Country Club, so a lot of money. It had 3 different housing projects, not a lot of money. And it had international students from...
So very diverse.
incredibly diverse.
And culture and in income and
Yep,
everything else.
absolutely. It was an absolute dream of a place to work
Yeah.
for that experience. My kids, like bullying just wasn't a thing. It was all about differences. And so that really helped shape me. But my mother was a social worker here in the 1970s in Tampa. And she, you know, working and being a volunteer and a community advocate was something she had always done. And that was just instilled in me. We helped. That's what you did. My mom still, she works with the Tri-Delts on campus at UF and has done so for almost 40 years.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
She still goes to their meetings Monday nights. Every Monday night they have the sorority meeting. She's there.
Were you in Tri-Delt too?
Nope.
No.
No. I was legacy, but I didn't. I was a little punk rock girl, so
I got you.
it wasn't my thing. But
Yeah, that was the era, right? Like
Yeah.
early 90s.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so you figured at the time politics was too messy to get into with the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
I don't know.
Boy,
It
aren't you
just-
glad you didn't stick it out in Oh my God. But now you kind of are a politician. I
Yeah.
mean, you literally are a politician,
Yeah.
right?
But that's the thing. After teaching, I started work as an editor, which is how it connects to the journalism. I worked for a woman who did USAID work, mostly in West Africa, and her focus was food security, monitoring and evaluation, land tenure.
Mm.
So I started out by reading those proposals, reading the reports, and then she and I clicked and worked so well together that I ended up eventually traveling overseas as a partner and helping people. I did a lot of work report writing. I did a lot of, it's where I learned about budgets and I learned about like just everything you can and can't do in the federal government,
Mm-hmm.
which has lent itself very nicely to what I do with the city. And so I did that literally until the day I was appointed. And I had a couple of clients I had to finish out, but there was just no way I could do both.
The day you were appointed to Tampa City Council?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I would imagine that would translate very well. We were just speaking before we hopped on live here about how you have to operate within the rule book, right?
Mhm.
Within this rule book from the state government, the county, and the federal government. And so, yeah, I would imagine you came into it with this sort of mindset. Hey, you can do this, you can't do this. Was that an easy transition for you? I'm sure that's why they picked you, right? Because they knew you had worked in that field. You had some experience in that.
I don't know. I think people are still a little surprised when I tell them about that experience and what I used to do, but that's actually the genesis behind these dresses, by the way.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is my little uniform, and these are all made in Kenya.
Oh, very cool.
And this particular fabric, all the batik, is made in Ghana.
Mm.
So, and I'm supporting small business owners. And quite frankly, it's so easy, day, night, sandals, heels, deep pockets for phone
Especially
and
this time of
keys.
year, it's nice and cool, right?
Yep, and they're cotton, so they're perfect for anything. But that's kind of how I fell into them. But it's still a nod to the roots of the work I did
Yeah.
in West Africa and the importance of budgets, food security, land tenure, land just being, buying it, owning it, knowing that really builds a community and allows people to set down roots and become more a part of their community, less transient. But no, I got onto council because John Dingfelder resigned on a Friday, and I got called literally the next morning at 8:30 in the morning, and people are like, "You've got to run for the seat. You gotta apply." And I was like, I was happy. I was moving further in my career. I was about to do some more work overseas. I had gotten a few new clients. I was really happy with what I was doing. But at that time, I had served on Seminole Heights' old Seminole Heights board. I was on the board for years. I served as their land use chair. I got appointed to the city's Charter Review Commission, the very first charter review since its inception in the early 70s. So that was a huge one. I was on that board with Bill Carlson and Joe Citro and Orlando Goods, Andrea Zellman, our current city attorney. I mean, a lot of great people. Also, our brand new airport CEO, he was on there.
Michael Stevens.
Yeah, Michael Stevens was on there. I mean, Morris Massey was on there. It was quite a group of people. And I got on there because I applied as an editor. I said, I have the ability to, I know why it's so important to have a comma where it is, or a period where it is, or something like that. And I also applied to be an alternate. Only 4 people applied to be an alternate.
What does that mean?
That means if somebody doesn't fulfill the duties of the seat, then they choose from an alternate. So that person can't serve anymore. So the rules there were, if you miss 2 meetings in a row,
This is charter review or council? Charter review.
You're off. And so I applied to be an alternate because I thought, why not? I mean,
Sure.
I knew a few of these people because of my advocacy on the from the neighborhood perspective. I had been in front of council several times. And so I was chosen as an alternate along with Orlando Goods. And so we attended the first 2 meetings, and council had appointed the people that they wanted. In the first 2 meetings, 2 people didn't show up.
Wow.
Back to back. So Orlando and I both got on. Just happenstance.
Surprise, surprise, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where it all started to some degree.
Interesting.
And from there, when I finished with that, obviously Joe and Bill and Orlando were running for seats. So I ended up being the person that went around. I spoke at Cafe Con Tampa. I spoke in neighborhood groups about the 18 amendments that were on the ballot at that time. If you remember, that was that 4-page ballot. Yeah. People were complaining about their wrist hurt at the end. So yeah, I did a little Twitter campaign. I explained all of them, the teacher in me, and all of them passed. So it was a really good. It was a good experience. And after those 3 got elected, Joe had sat on the variance review board, and he said, you should go for the seat. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And he's like, you have to do it. And so I did. And I was appointed. I was approved by the mayor twice. I sat on that board. I learned so much.
Yeah, I bet.
About land use. And it was the variance review board looks at very minute part of land use. But it was so interesting. And so I just loved it. I learned something new every time. And so when I actually applied for the seat, there were 23 people that applied for the District 3 seat that I sit in now, that we were just appointed to. And the rule was and is at the time, and that's why we're having a special election for District 5, is if there are 15 months or fewer left in a term, the rest of city council appoints. If there's more than 15 months, you have a special election.
Got it.
That's why we're having a special election, because there was about 2 years left.
Got it. And so Dingfelder resigns on a Friday. The next morning, people are calling you.
Yeah.
And you put in your application.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? Council sits there and looks at all these different candidates for this seat, to fill this seat, and they vote who will fill that seat?
Yes. And they voted right then and there. So what they did, they came up with the rules. We had to fill out the form. And the important reason that there's only 23 people is because they made us get it notarized, which was smart.
Otherwise, what? There's 50 people that?
Yeah, easily. Because it was just that $10 thing of finding a notary, paying the notary. And I mean, I thought that was clever, actually. Made a lot of sense.
But isn't that amazing how something that small could inhibit so many people from... But it's also a good thing, though, because it's man, if you can't even get a notary, you probably shouldn't be on Tampa City Council.
Pretty much. You need to be able to find a notary. So, I mean, it was $10. It was very nominal. It wasn't a big deal. And then the last qualification is a 2-minute speech.
Oh, wow.
So
who you are, what you've done, why you should.
Whatever you wanted to say. And so, I happened to be married to a man who taught speech, rhetoric, and persuasion at the college level for many years.
That's helpful.
Just a little bit. But really, we actually did it together. I told him what I wanted to say. I had 3 points I wanted to make. And so his wasn't about the speech itself, because I knew the words I wanted, and I was pretty adamant. He would try to change things, and I'd be like, nope, that's not the way I talk. But his was about me learning how to speak in front of a group and just a little bit on those. And
Right.
which actually goes back to the story of how we met. Our first date was thank you for helping me write my grandmother's eulogy date.
Oh
Believe it
my
or not. Yeah.
gosh.
For
What was the connection there? Like,
we met at a party, and
and he's like, "Hey, I'm a speechwriter," and you're like, "Hey, I have a funeral coming up. Could you help me out?"
no, we just kind of clicked. You know how you just clicked with
Sure,
somebody?
sure.
And I gave him my email, my fake email at the time, because this was the early 2000s, and we started corresponding. And we met on a Saturday night. My grandmother died on a Monday, and then, like, for reasons, I ended up being. The eulogy was given to me by my aunts. Like, I had to do it. My father and my two uncles couldn't do it, so it was left to me. And so I happened to email, and I was like, "Yeah, I've got to write this eulogy." And he writes back, he's like, "It's too bad you don't know a speechwriter."
Oh my
And so I
gosh.
sent him the bare bones of it, and he helped me write it. And then we get to the church, and I was so nervous, and I called him on my flip phone, because that was the thing
Yeah.
back then. And I was like, "Oh my God, how do I give a speech?" And he gave me perfect pointers.
What'd he say?
Just about it, nothing about, imagine the crowd naked. That's
Right.
not, but just, speak above the heads of the crowd, and, breathe, and just,
Oh,
and
so
so,
actually practical.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was a speech teacher. That's what he
Right.
did. So I did that. And okay, first of all, my grandmother was a saint. I could have gotten up there and said, "Grandma's awesome." And
Sure.
like everybody would have cried, and it would have been great. But instead I give this heartfelt eulogy, and the entire church cries.
Wow.
And from then on, I'm the family eulogy giver.
Oh no.
I do them all. I mean, not all of them, but I do. Yeah, I'm the one they call on now. And so giving my dad's eulogy was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. But because I'd had that
Oh, wow.
experience,
Yeah.
and so I called him afterwards, and he was living here in Tampa, which is where we met, and I was up in Gainesville, and he came up. We went to Satchel's Pizza, which is a very well-known, pizza place up there, and I took him out to dinner as a thank you for helping me write my grandmother's eulogy.
I only visited UF one time, and it was not to Satchel's Pizza. It was
If you
it
ever
was
get up there.
a couple different establishments. So you give your 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They pick you.
Yeah.
But before that, it sounds like you had to make this decision whether or not to put your application in within like 24 hours, like very quickly.
No, but there was a 2-week window.
It was a 2-week window.
Yeah,
Did you have some back and forth, or did you feel a calling? I mean, sounds like you were very happy with your career at that time. You were going to Africa and doing all this cool stuff. You didn't need to do Tampa City Council.
I didn't, and that's honestly what made me do it. I was like, it's 2 weeks. I'll talk to some people. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
And if I don't get it, I'm really happy with my life. And
Yeah.
if I get it, well, great. This is just another door.
And you had those great relationships too. Like you had been on these different boards, variance review, charter commission.
And that was one of my biggest benefits. I knew how the city worked because I had spent months on the charter. But also, apparently this is something that had never happened. I told my neighborhood, and they were super supportive, and Than was super supportive. I'd known Stephanie because I sat on Than. I was when our president, I was vice president at the time of Old Seminole Heights, and when our president couldn't be on those meetings, I would join them. And so people were so excited, they sent letters.
Wow.
They emailed Tampa City Council, which is what you do for like a rezoning, and council members commented on that I had gotten letters, and I had no idea. I mean,
that's amazing.
I mean, I thought maybe like a couple of friends might have, but I didn't realize, and I don't know, maybe it wasn't that many, but apparently it was enough that it somebody made an observation about it. I want to say it was Guido, but either way, it's that feeling of actually getting it was pretty amazing. I
bet, yeah. But also such a sort of 180. I mean, here you are doing, USAID work in Africa. You're certainly involved in the community here. You're on these different boards, but then you find yourself within 2 or 3 weeks on Tampa City Council. So what's day one when they're like, "Hey, we're picking you. Like you won."
They literally picked me right there after in the speech giving. So there was 23 people that gave a speech, and then they just went into voting right there.
Right there.
And everyone thought they'd be there forever. So the first ballot, I got 2 votes, and someone else, I think, also got 2 votes. So they had to do a second ballot, and 2 people changed their votes to me
Boom.
in the second one.
So you literally leave City Hall that day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow.
And then that was a Tuesday. I had to sit for my first meeting on a Thursday.
2 days later?
2 days later.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
What's the conversation on the ride home with your husband?
Well, I didn't take my husband.
Probably on purpose, right? Because he's going to be critiquing your speech the whole time in the back, whispering to you.
Well, he watched it because that's what he does. He's a journalist that works with television media, so he recorded it. That's his thing. So no, it was really overwhelming. Just the idea of diving right in, and you think you know, but you just don't really know.
Well, yeah, diving in is the right word, right? Because traditionally, if you're going to run for office, there's months and months and months, probably years, right, of buildup. But for you, 2 weeks ago at that time, you weren't even thinking about this. I mean, there was already a person in that seat, and there was multiple years left in the term. Wasn't even on your radar.
No.
And now, boop. Oh, by the way, you got to show up in 2 days for a Tampa City Council meeting.
Yeah. I mean, I had thought about running eventually.
Right.
Maybe. But I was just so excited. I was about to be president of Old Seminole Heights. We had worked on it, and that, Tim Keyports at the time was going to hand over the baton, and I was ready to take it. And I was, like you said, I was traveling. I was doing all this stuff. I was in a really good place. I was really happy. And it's not, Tampa City Council is just a whole other world. And I am happy. I love the job. It is so much fun.
Yeah. Well, you can do what you were doing before, but now you can advocate for stronger change.
And it's local change.
Change.
That was the thing. I loved my aid work, but that was the hardest part and I think maybe that's also really what stuck with me is a lot of what we did, we evaluated projects. We didn't actually do any of the projects for USAID. So we would go in at the midpoint and the end, and you put a proposal out. You said, this is what I'm going to do with the money. And then so at the midpoint, we would review that. We would go and we would interview people. But there's a whole level of what people will and won't share with you. Because we're not of a culture or understanding of the nuance of body language. When we had to go to virtual interviews during COVID, I struggled so difficultly because I didn't understand the small nuance that my partner had because she had spent so much time over there. She knew the nuance, and I really struggled. Because body language is a much bigger presentation there than, probably is here too, but I grew up here, so I'm used to people's body language.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just knowing those little things really, helped.
Yeah. And so Thursday comes up, first meeting. Mm-hmm. What was your first meeting like?
I pretty much just approved. I just said yes because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
I had done a little bit of background,
Sure.
I think, but not enough to feel truly like I was part of things.
And it sounds like you sort of fell in love with it. Like you just mentioned that you really, really like this process. You like affecting local change. So maybe on your first day, you came in like, man, I got to kind of learn this game, how this all works. But you've done that.
Yeah.
And that was, by the way, just so people understand, what year was that you were appointed?
2022.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
So you served the rest of that term.
Yeah.
And then you ran for re-election. And
Correct.
That's a whole different process, campaign, election day in 2023?
Yes, 2023.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
In May.
So you're on your second term.
No, I'm on my first term. That first 15 months doesn't count.
So
it's similar to Lewis. Lewis won a special election, and it's similar to District 5. So whoever wins the special election, that doesn't count for their 2 full terms if they were to run again.
Oh, interesting.
It does not. Yeah.
Yeah, that was super sad to hear Gwen Henderson's passing. It was just so sudden. I had actually just spoken to her like I think a week and a half before that, and she was going to come on the show, and we were talking about it. And it was really exciting, and then boom, that news. It was like, wow,
Yeah, it was an absolute shock to all of
complete
us.
shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was very vibrant and seemed healthy to me, and yeah, so a total shock.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot you don't know about people, and
Sure,
I mean, we
it's life,
councils.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's.
yeah. So now there's a special election, 14 candidates, and I think it's coming up in the next few weeks, right? Isn't voting day sometime in September?
I think so. I'll be honest. I mean, I've sort of been paying attention, but not too much because I'm gonna have to work with whomever it is, and I'm just excited for
Yeah.
whoever it is for the
That's how you're
community.
looking at this? Like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
whoever the community picks is who
Mhm.
I'll work with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I don't live in District 5. I live in District 6. So, I mean, I affect no. I have no. I mean, I can't vote. I can't.
Right.
So I mean, I know they've been doing an absolute ton of forums and questionnaires and.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad there's 14 candidates. I love seeing that many people interested. I love that all these different associations are packing the room
Mhm.
with people to
Yeah.
listen to these candidates. Like if there's one thing I've tried to do with this show is have a broad conversation about regional and local issues to
Mhm.
get more people interested in local
Absolutely.
issues. It's so important.
It is absolutely critical. I mean, we can't right now, for better or for worse, it's one part of the community that talks, and it's the neighborhood associations. And, again, I was a neighborhood leader, and it's really important to get out, be there. They've educated themselves. They know how to come to council. They know how to fight. And I think that's fabulous. I just want more people to do that too. I
100%.
don't want to leave anybody out. I mean, I always say my very favorite part of council is public comment.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter who comes up or what they say, there is a grain of truth in that 3 minutes.
There is, and you'll notice the same people show up
Mhm.
and say the same grievances and the same issues.
Yep.
And what's really cool is watching something get done,
Mhm.
like something like even me, like a small example. I've bitched about the crosswalk from McDill 48 Park crossing McDill because when I'm in walking our neighborhood to go get coffee with my family, it's sort of dangerous. Like there's cars and there's traffic and there's no crosswalk. And boom, all of a sudden one day it gets fixed. And it's like, yes,
Yeah.
man, yes. And
Mhm.
that right there is so much more important in so many ways than fighting on larger issues that probably will not trickle down all the way to your streets and your water service in your neighborhood. Granted, social issues are important and there's a lot of international conflict that needs to be figured out. But at the end of the day, it all starts with your neighborhood and your own community. So watching the roads get paved, watching the sidewalks get shaved, watching the infrastructure projects get done, that is really comforting to see.
Well, but it is. I mean, there's folks come and talk to us about stuff that we absolutely can do nothing about, but it's their vehicle, and that makes us different than the county commission too, because they have 30 minutes, and there's only 30 minutes for public comment. Where we'll stay till lunch if we need to. I mean, if that's how many people are there, that's what we do. We're not going to cut their time. We're not going to do it.
Could
this
you cut their
council.
time?
Oh yeah, by vote, we could all say, oh, and we're only going to do 2 minutes, but why would we do that?
That's really cool. So there's a consensus on council to
Oh,
let the public come express grievances and take.
absolutely.
So in your experience, what's the longest public comment you've had? Sounds like hours. I mean, if you said till lunch. This episode is brought to you by the official remodeler of the TBD podcast, Kohler House Remodeling Company. Built on the belief that every homeowner deserves a premium experience, Kohler House is redefining high-end home remodeling with their commitment to integrity, craftsmanship, and quality communication. Their work speaks for itself, from condos in the towers of Channelside to 100-year-old homes in South Tampa, creating spaces that are both stunning and functional. What sets Kohler House Remodeling Company apart is their dedication to not only transforming homes into beautiful spaces, but to elevating the standard of residential general contracting. From concept to completion, every detail is handled with care, ensuring a process that's as smooth as the results are impressive. To learn more, check out our partner's website at kohlerhouse.net, KOHLERHAUS.net. This episode is sponsored by Chansey Architecture and Interior Design. Rooted in the heart of Ybor City for over 35 years, Walt Chansey and his team are trailblazers in their field. Beyond their work across the United States and the Bahamas, Chansey has shaped some of the most iconic residential and commercial spaces that serve as gateways to Cigar City, including Casa Marti and Casa Gomez. What sets Chansey Design apart is their ability to preserve the soul and character of historic buildings while seamlessly integrating modern design and functionality. They blend tradition with innovation, creating spaces that honor the past while meeting today's needs. Check out their work at www.chanseydesign.com.
Public comment, like regular public comment, oftentimes, I mean, we've gone till 11 or 11:30 before, but that's generally because we would have had something before our ceremony. We do ceremonials before public
Right.
comment, and that's things like police officer of the month or firefighter of the quarter, and ATU employee of the month. But then sometimes we have presentations too, and occasionally those folks go over
Yeah.
a little too long. So we've amended our rules and only allow three. Yeah, three. We only allow three things before public comment. Like you have to be 3 ceremonials, and that is it.
Right. Well, there has to be some sort of structure. There's so
Yes.
much to talk about and get through. And
There is, and that's the other. So to go back to public comment quickly, it's the only place in the entire city where someone can be heard for free. I mean, you can't go. I mean, you can go to county commission, but you got to get in under that 30 minutes. The mayor doesn't do anything that's public like that. That's just not her job. So she's not available. So the place that people can go and really feel like they're being heard, that's available to them, is city council.
wow. Yeah.
And so even if you're complaining about something that doesn't have to do with city council or the city, it is your only place to do so in public, and people watch. So if you want to get your message out, that's the way to do it, and that's fine. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. So that is absolutely a critical part. It is. I do not see this council wanting to change that
Yeah.
because we just believe in openness.
It's kind of crazy. The meetings are only once a week.
I know, and I have no problem doing more meetings. The problem that we're always told is that staff time. And I respect that. Like I get
Because
that.
when they're coming to council presenting or whatever, they're not working on what they.
Sort of, because right now you might have noticed if you watch our meetings, we do a lot of those folks come in like via Teams or whatever, because they can stay in their office and they can just have it on and they just turn their camera on when we have a question for them. And we actually kind of encourage that because we want people to be doing the work and not wasting their time sitting in council, because we do get into conversations. But it's not even that, it's the preparing. It's all the preparation that staff does. And I understand that the administration wants them to be as prepared as possible and perfectly, and I get that. You don't want people just coming off and making guesses or saying things from the fly. So I do respect that, but we have added some things. Like last week, we had the stormwater meeting at night. On Monday night, we normally have 2 budget meetings. One is to talk about operating and one to talk about capital. This year we did general fund operating and capital on one Monday, and then the next Monday morning we did enterprise funds operating and capital, and then we actually added a stormwater, both operating and capital workshop. And the main reason we did that is because stormwater has been such an issue after the 2 hurricanes.
Right.
People are very worried about it. They want to know how much money we're spending, where it's going, and it was hugely successful.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of people show up?
No, I thought it would be a crowded room. We had maybe 15 or 20, but they were kind of our big usual suspects.
Sure. When you say hugely successful, just the information that was gathered.
And shared.
Yeah.
Because, what people do with that city council is either they watch it or they watch it afterward or they share it on Facebook. Because it's a YouTube video, so anybody can go watch it. And but by and large, the feedback we got was thank you for telling us how much money is going to be spent on this, what's going to be done with this, how we're working on what folks had a harder time with is what money we can spend on operating, which is the cleaning out the ditches, the clearing of things, and capital. And capital is the projects, the bigger, dig up the ground, add new pipe projects. And you can't really commingle those funds. We don't have the ability to do that because it's two separate assessments on your bill. So if somebody says, oh, we don't need to do this big project, you can just do more cleaning instead. Well, we can't because that's not what we said the money was going to be used for. And we have to, that's one of those things where
you got to know the rules.
Yeah.
You got to know how the game is played and operate within those rules. Well,
Correct.
It's like, I think people comment on our posts all the time. And even I've said on the show, like, why spend the money there? Why not spend it here? Oftentimes you can't do that because it's two different sets of money and you can't commingle.
Correct.
Wouldn't that be nice though, if you could just be like, hey, instead of this huge project, we're going to go fix every road in Tampa or whatever.
And it would, and capital can be spent on roads. So, and technically that is a stormwater issue, but is that really the best way to spend that money? I mean, those giant capital projects cost hundreds of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars. I mean, the one that everyone's debating right now, the South Howard Flood Relief Project, is, I think they're predicting around 40 million, which is 80 million once you bond it. That's a bigger project. We can't take that 40 million from capital to do basic operations.
Wow. So let's go back. You get on council. Did you have an immediate indication of when you were appointed that you wanted to run again? Like, obviously you sort of knew, well, my time here is limited, but I can always run for another 4 years. Did you figure that out going in, or somewhere along the way you were like, you know what, I'm gonna run for re-election?
Well, I decided to go into it with this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm going to do what I always said I would want to do. If, when you're looking at the TV or right now, when you're looking at congressional Democrats, you're like, I want you to be, changing yourself to a door or whatever it is. Like, I decided I want to be that person. I want to be what I would want me to be. And if people like it, great. They'll let me know by sort of toward the end of the year when I have to make the decision. Now, I did say yes, that I would run again, because that was one of the questions on the form. And so I kind of had said yes, but quite frankly, I didn't have to do it if I didn't really want to, if I ended up not liking the job. So I said yes to everything. I said yes to every meeting. I said yes to every tour. I said it was exhausting. I about killed myself. I mean, not just exhausting myself. I was just so tired. After getting appointed to city council, I gained 25 pounds between that year and running for office. I've lost about half of that. I still have about 12 to go, but yeah.
Wow. So just the stress of the job and the pace of it.
Yeah.
All these people want to talk to you.
Yeah.
All these different businesses want to get in your ear, right? All these different organizations want to have you over to check out what they're up to. And you fell into just bad habits through all that, and the stress and the
I mean, you don't think about it, but when you go, like, every election party, what is it? It's Cuban sandwiches and like devil crab. It's awesome. Like, and imagine another place that has such phenomenal food at one of these events, and then it's just too much bread. It's just too much.
Not have a little.
I know. And then and it's cookies and it's this and it's that, and I'm a nibbler, so I've just had to, honestly, what cured me? I mean, I knew I needed to do it. Like, my doctor was like, okay, yeah. But basically what did it was, were the 2 back-to-back hurricanes. Like, I was so...
Sort of a reset period?
I was so traumatized. That was so traumatic that I just stopped eating.
What was that like? Because people probably look to you for answers, right? I mean, here you are, I guess, an appointed official, not technically an elected
Oh,
official.
I was an elected
Oh, at
last
that
year.
time, right?
Last year,
Last
yeah.
year, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that must have been a lot of weight came with that. I was
it
actually,
did.
my cousin was getting married. We were overseas, and on the news on BBC, like the mayor's on there, Bill Carlson was on there, you might have been on there, and I was like, holy shit, this is so crazy. I'm not back in Tampa. I'm literally watching this on TV. It was incredibly scary. I can't imagine as an elected official. I mean, the weight of that and the pressure, and all you probably wanted to do is help. But before
Mm.
the storm came, there's not much we could do except wait for it and prepare people, right?
The National Weather Service was talking about storm surge, and they were talking about high storm surge. And I mean, we knew it was coming. I
Yeah.
just, because we had never experienced it, we just couldn't imagine what that would be like. So after that was very difficult, the flooding that happened. But you figure, okay, we're through, like this is it. We're gonna and we went to work right away. I mean, the getting folks out to help clean garbage and pull stuff out of people's houses. I mean, it started right away. We had services up already. Abby's team went out and they had mobile units already ready to go to help people who had pulled out drywall. And we knew no cost for permits for these types of permits. Just go do it. What they had, I mean, they had plans for giving food out and all of this aid. It worked. It was wonderful. And then we had to shut it all down
Mm,
because Milton was coming.
right. And quick pivot and clean up from Helene
Yep.
within days.
Yeah. And we couldn't get it all done. There was no physical way to move all that trash. And so you have people who are terrified that the high winds are going to move this debris, verifiably so. And, you know, with Helene, two of our closest friends, or, a couple down the street from us, lived on the river and they lost everything. So my focus they were so close. My focus was just helping them. I mean, we helped the community as well, but personally, we took on making all of their meals. We took on, I mean, they were staying with a neighbor, but the place they were staying had no electricity. And we wanted them to stay with us, but they were like, no, we're going to take up this neighbor's offer. We're going to stay with them. But they came to us for every meal. We organized meal trains
Hmm.
for folks. And one of them happened to be a chef. So people were afraid to cook for him. And we ended up just collecting money and buying things to make. But we did. Folks donated for all the people who were out there helping them. We made sandwiches and things like that for lunch every day, and snacks and drinks and Gatorades and everything. And we were ferrying things back and forth. We went to the store for them. We went out to Home Depot and things, so they didn't have to leave. They could keep doing what they were doing. And that was critical to me. But then Milton came.
Yeah.
And everybody lost power. We
Mhm.
lost power for 8 days. We were the last grid to get it back.
Wow.
And we stayed with neighbors who had a whole house generator. So then we became the neighborhood stop.
Right.
Everybody came to live in air conditioning for a while, to have some coffee, to take a shower, just to be with their community. And that
Some
was,
level of comfort.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's what we were trying to do all over the city.
Yeah. So you guys are high up in your area. I mean, Seminole Heights, you don't really have storm surge to deal with.
No, we didn't deal with storm surge, but on the river they did.
On the river,
So
they did.
so our friends who had 3 feet of water in their house,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, South Tampa. So I'm in Ballast Point, kind of right off Bayshore. And oh my gosh, the older vintage homes that were built in the 60s and
Mhm.
70s, all those below floodplain homes, streets and streets and streets of empty houses, people just trying to put everything back together. And we left in between the storms, believe it or not. So I think Helene hit, call it like Friday, Saturday, something like that. We had a flight out on Monday, and then Milton came, I think, like the following week. So while we were gone, we had some friends that lived in our neighborhood. They got flooded out. We're fortunate enough, our neighborhood was built in 2001. So it's actually they did fill dirt, right?
Mhm.
So we did get water on the street, but none in our home. And so while we left, I talked to my wife about it, and I'm like, let's just let our family friends live in our house. We're going to be gone anyway,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
So we gave up our house and our cars to them. And then the news came about Milton. And it was like, oh my God, here comes another one. And Milton was especially scary because all of us in our mind had fresh what happened with Helene with the
Mhm.
storm surge.
Yep.
And initially, when the news came out, which by the way, it goes to show how these early alerts are so important because I remember them talking about Milton at least a week before it hit. I
Yeah.
mean, they were really
Mhm.
early on in like preparations, and this is what could potentially happen. I remember they had a map when they first started talking about storm surge, and it had 18 feet in
Yeah.
Tampa Bay. And I thought, if that actually hits, this will devastate our city.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to cover South Tampa, Davis Islands. I mean,
Mhm.
this is going to go up into Ybor. This is going to go up the river. Like, this is going to be horrible. Thank God it did shift, and I think Milton was mostly wind and rain. We didn't get a whole
Yes.
lot of storm surge. Again, we weren't here for it.
Well, we would have it if it had gone, what, 30 miles north? I mean,
Exactly.
that's the thing. And we would have had all of it again
All of it again. Yeah.
if, well, all of it again plus,
Right.
because obviously in Milton, we had a lot of flooding in places that we don't normally get flooding.
That was the trick with Milton. That was kind of the weird thing that happened with Milton was the rainfall, that sustained rainfall filled up all these pockets in areas that aren't even really in a flood zone.
Correct.
Like Forest
Yeah.
Hills flooded.
Yeah.
Like when has that ever flooded? I mean, if ever, right? I think David, what did they say when we talked so after the storms, we did a couple episodes. We did one with Hillsborough County emergency director of emergency and then the public works director, and they were talking about how that storm had pushed the Hillsborough River up to like a 300-year high
Mhm.
or something completely
Yeah.
unprecedented. And so a lot of those neighborhoods out in the county, Forest Hills and North Tampa, Lewis all the time advocates for
Yep.
more protections, but they had no idea that was even possible.
No.
So
And
that
yeah.
plus storm surge would have been
Yeah. Yeah. It was really brutal. But again, it was devastating. It was devastating for so many people. But the city of Tampa is the only city in the state of Florida that has provided any of its own money to help people who were hit.
wow.
We put over $5 million in.
And what can that money be used for?
Well, initially there was $3.2 million that we reallocated from our in housing funds, and those are very particular dollars from the state that you have to spend in a particular way. In this case, it was income restrictive and could basically only be used. We could use it for, some people paid mortgages from it. Some people they paid, if you had something fixed, they would pay you back. I believe it's a maximum of $20,000, so it's not a ton, but it's something.
Something, yeah.
And then recently we found leftover money from the FY24 budget. It's the first time we've ever done that and asked for it. Normally the mayor or the administration would have determined what to do with that, so we asked for it. There was about 25.2 million left over, something like that, and $14 million had to go right back into our hurricane storm funds because you got to replenish, prepare for next year. But we had 11.8 left over, so we put 1.8 toward helping people. Again, Lewis had wanted about $1 million, and I was like, why not just make it a nice even 5? 3.2 plus 1.8, nice even 5. And we had that 0.8 anyway. We put $3 million toward extra stormwater, put $5 million toward roads, and $2 million toward sidewalks.
Awesome.
And I mean, that was what I presented something a little bit different to council as to what we should spend it on, because this was my request. But we ended up with more money for paving. I wanted more money for stormwater, but it evens out because people really want paving done. I respect that. And it does help stormwater to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
So in the end, I think it was money well spent. But that additional $3 million that stormwater was able to go ahead and do more things. They could contract more. They're going to buy more equipment this year. They're going to do all of this stuff that they really needed to do, but now the community is saying absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, your district is a citywide district, right? So you have
Yep.
your constituency is all across the city limits. What are you finding that your constituents want you to spend money on? Is it roads and sidewalks and stormwater? Are those kind of the main things that people are talking to you about?
Roads, sidewalks, stormwater, traffic calming.
Traffic calming,
Yep. Everybody wants speed bumps. Everybody wants
wider sidewalks, safe crossings, all of
stop
that.
signs. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the and really the complaint is cut through traffic. I get a lot of that. I get a lot of noise complaints, stuff like that. It kind of goes in waves.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of
hurricane
stormwater
comes,
now.
everyone focuses on that, right?
Yep.
It sort of shifts. Roads, I feel like, I mean, growing up here, like we've talked about that for decades and decades. I mean, I remember a little kid in the back seat, my dad driving these damn roads in town. You know, it's like that has always been a conversation.
Yeah.
And to me, I've seen more work in the last year be done in terms of road work, infrastructure, including sidewalks, than I've ever seen in my entire lifetime.
You know why?
Why?
It was 2 budgets ago that there was some money in the parking budget. I can't remember what it was for, but we moved it into paving.
Thank you. Do you remember how much and
I
how
want to
that-
say it was about $4 million. And so last year it was $5 million. And the administration had wanted to use it, you know, in city park, in parking garages, when you go places and they tell you how many spaces are available on each level.
Yep.
They wanted to spend it on that.
Sure.
That is not
It's a great feature.
yeah, it's not a bad thing to spend money on. And honestly, I would support it if the CRAs were paying for it. I think that's a CRA project. I fully support doing that. But since most of those garages are downtown, let's use CRA dollars.
Sure.
Because it's above and beyond what we would normally put toward parking. So the next year, yeah, they had $5 million toward that in the next budget. And we moved that to paving. And then in the parking budget, there was also $1.5 million for EV charging stations in public parking garages. And I did not think that was a good use of dollars. Apparently that was going to be matching for a grant. But my theory about EV charging stations is if you want them, and I don't think it's a bad idea, but I don't want to own an EV charging like stuff. I don't want to own that because that means we have to maintain it. And that means, you know, it's something the city didn't need to do.
Sure.
But would we rent out space in the garage for a small business to come and do that? Sure. Knock yourself out.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I mean, they do that all the time. A little public-private partnership. If somebody wants to do it, it's on their dime to keep it fixed, to keep it working. It's you have the incentive to keep it working. We don't have enough people to work on that sort of stuff, and then it's out of order, and I didn't want to deal with that. So
is there revenue that's generated with that? Like,
sure.
Right.
Sure. I mean, obviously, these people wouldn't do that if there wasn't revenue.
No, of course, but I mean, from the city perspective, like,
Well, if we gave them spaces to rent, we would get some type of rent for that.
but I mean, when someone charges their car, they pay like they would to fill up a gas tank, but they're paying for the electricity.
Sure.
They would pay the city.
Yes.
But what you're saying is that money doesn't really cover the cost of the maintenance and the repairs.
Probably not. I mean, and if it did, at some point that technology would be out of date and they would have something new and then we would have to buy it.
Yeah.
When you go through a public-private partnership, they're the ones that have to deal with all the infrastructure.
Right.
Would we get as much money? No. But the lack of maintenance makes it kind of a wash. For me, it seems like, okay, we're getting money where we wouldn't have before and we don't have to do anything. Sign me up.
And this is where Bus Route 1 comes in, right?
It does, because that 1.5 million, in talking to folks at HART and just talking in theory about, improving bus service and doing all of this, I knew that improving Route 1, adding frequency, making it fare free would be about $1.5 million. And why does that matter, you ask? Because Route 1 is the approximal route of a bus rapid transit service that has already been studied by FDOT, that has already gone through. They know where these stops would be. We know what the route would be. It would actually get on Fowler instead of the current Fletcher, but it's already a thing. They've done some studies. What we needed was more riders before we could get funding to do it. So I thought, why not use that $1.5 million to make the bus fare free, increase frequency from every 20 minutes to every 15 minutes, and see what happens.
And how long does that keep it free for with that frequency?
It's a 1-year pilot. It started in January of 2025 and it ends in January of 2026. And so far, the pilot has been incredibly successful.
Amazing. David, pull up Bus Route 1. I got a Bus Route 1 sticker on our fridge over there, the same one you've got on your water bottle. But yeah, let's look at this route, because in my head, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we talk about transportation on the show all the time, and I'm like, man, if you can get that thing free, right? You increase the ridership, people start getting used to that service. Maybe they're willing to even pay for that service one day. Then you get a dedicated lane, BRT, right?
Yes.
Where you go downtown to that USF area. Then eventually, and this is years or maybe even decades down the road, that could turn into some sort of a dedicated fixed transit line.
Sure. Now,
like there's a progression here. Of
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's biting the apple one bite at a time instead of whole.
Yep.
And the idea was, this is a route that connects from downtown on Whiting Street. And where that A is, that, as you see, says Whiting Street Station, Tico Line streetcar system.
Boom.
That is where the streetcar is, which is also fare free.
Right.
Then you take it all the way up, take east on Fletcher, and then you end up basically, I kind of say it's sort of Bruce B. Downs-ish. It's right there at the edge of the University of USF.
And
if you've been to Bagels, I think it's Bagels Plus, Bagels Unlimited. Can't remember the bagel place on Fletcher. It's one of my favorites, though.
Huh.
It's right across the street in the Target parking lot, in the Aldi parking lot.
It's good though, homemade, legit, with the schmear and the whole.
Phenomenal, super cheap, really good.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
And so that's a line. It hits the VA, it hits Social Security Administration, it hits downtown, it hits Seminole Heights, it hits Tampa Heights, and it connects to the streetcar. So that was originally as the BRT. Sure, it makes sense. But instead of going down Fletcher, they would go down Fowler, which has more lanes that you could repurpose. Also, Fowler is right now a business corridor. So when we talk about the comp plan, that's one of the areas they're looking to push growth. Mm-hmm. And a bus rapid transit system would help that.
And who are we finding that is riding on this route? Just by looking at the map, it's pretty diverse, right? You may maybe have university students, people that live up in the north area, come to downtown to work. Is there data out on who demographically these people are and what their occupation is? Does it go that deep?
That's a good question. HART has been doing some studies. I'm not sure they've gotten that deep into it. I know they continue to plan to do more surveys. But I can ask about that for sure. But I don't know about the ridership. But what I can tell you, because I ride it, is that we are getting more professionals, so to speak. Because I live in the Heights and I take it down to City Hall.
Yeah.
So definitely more people getting off in the Armature Works area.
Uh-huh.
Definitely people taking it downtown. A lot of students.
That's really great to hear, because when you look at other transportation alternatives outside of a vehicle in the Northeast and out West and places in Europe and around the world, there's not a negative connotation to transportation outside of a vehicle. Yeah. Whereas here locally, you're from here like I am, there's these echoes of this sort of negative sentiment towards any transit outside of a vehicle. So It's really encouraging to hear there's like professionals and students using it. There's no reason why we have that negative connotation. I just think it's like an old way people think about a bus, which might not be true, but it's just stuck in
Yeah.
people's head.
Well, that was the whole point of the fare-free pilot is just give it a try.
Just give it a try.
Just give it a try. And so what I've done with Transit Now Tampa Bay, which is an advocacy group that's co-founded by Dana Lazarus, we've been leading bus rides. We get people to hop on the bus at one spot. We've chosen a location that we go to, and then we bring them back.
Cool. Yeah. Shout out Dana. She's the one that gave me the sticker. So.
Oh, yeah. She's fabulous. But our first one was in Tampa Heights. We started at the Sprouts, got off at the streetcar, hopped on the streetcar, and went to Sparkman Wharf. There were a handful of people. There were over 20 people on that ride. There were a handful of people who lived in Tampa Heights who had never been to Sparkman Wharf.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because if you think about how to get there and you're only focused on cars, you got to get down there first with the traffic.
Right.
Then you got to figure out where to park, and then you got to pay for it. So of that ride, we lost about 6, 7, maybe 8 people on the way back because they were like, we're having a great time. We know how to get back. Thanks.
Love it. Love it.
So we had that with our Seminole Heights ride and Hampton Terrace ride. It was during the summer, so we took the bus down and we went to Gen X Tavern and had lunch.
Yeah.
And then a couple folks were like, we live in Hampton Terrace, so we want to take the 400 back. How do we do that? We showed them where, and then they went off and did it. So, because that goes up Nebraska. But the idea is just get people comfortable with trying public transit, and it's been successful. So in December of last year, before this pilot started, about 3,000 people a day rode the bus. Our latest Bus Route 1. Our latest data with both frequency updates and fare free, it's over 5,200 a day.
Wow. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
So we're not far from the 6,000 number we need for a BRT.
Do you attribute the increase because of a free fare or the increase in frequency?
It's a combination of the two. People who ride the bus are always going to ride the bus. Actually, that's not true. People who ride the bus want to know that they can get to where they need to go reliably.
Yeah.
And 20 minutes could sometimes end up being 25 minutes, and that's not okay for 25 minutes.
Agreed, yeah.
To where you need to be. But 15 minutes? And then maybe sometimes it's 12 and maybe sometimes it's 18, but that's a reasonable amount of time.
Right.
And we found that every month there's increase in ridership and there's increase in on-time performance. And those are the things that people are looking for. So I'm hoping to expand Route 1 in this next budget to add, right now, the frequency, the additional every 15 minutes is only 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. There's no evening time. There's no weekend time. And the biggest complaints we're getting are there's too many people on the bus, believe it or not.
Wow. It's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. But, also reasonably, we don't want people jammed on there.
No.
So adding the frequency on the weekends and some evening frequency, and we're still kind of talking about what that would look like and what the best use is. But really, yeah, just getting more people used to this route, being able to support it. Now that we have the Regional Infrastructure Accelerator, the RIO grant that you talked about on your Instagram last week, probably Facebook too, I don't know.
That's a David question, but yeah, we put it out there.
But the idea behind the Regional Infrastructure Accelerator is that we take the projects that we already have.
Yes.
And we find innovative ways to fund them.
Love it.
Of ways that we can't right now. So basically what you're looking at is anything but a regular road project, because FDOT funds the road projects. We're looking at, for us, we're looking at transit projects, and this is regional. So things that can help connect people overall.
I feel like on the bus, the question, what produces more ridership, a free fare or the frequency? It's absolutely both, but I also feel that there's a certain demographic that will always want to ride the bus and maybe ride the bus out of necessity because it's the probably the lowest cost
Hmm.
transportation you could get around
Yeah.
our county and the city, et cetera. If you want to get the professionals and the students and the people that could drive a
Hmm.
vehicle but choose to ride the bus, got to be frequent, got to be quick,
Hmm.
and in some ways it's got to beat the car. And what I mean by that is like maybe it takes me 15 minutes to travel from my house to downtown on the bus and the car, but with the bus, I don't have to park. I don't have to think about it. I can just put my AirPods in and listen to music, whatever, right? Like people respond to incentives. It's one of the first things you learn in economics. And if you really want people to increase ridership on any given system at all, it's got to beat the car.
Hmm.
We've built our world so much around vehicles. We've made it so easy and attractive to use our own air conditioned car, blasting our own music with our own parking spot, that in order to get a transportation project done, it's going to have to be enticing to actually get people to use it. That's why I love this Route 1 initiative, because it's like, here we are, frequent, free, great locations, connects to the streetcar. I can see why you thought that was a no brainer to start with.
Yeah. And it's honestly getting people to be able to take it as people become more used to not drinking and driving. This also no, seriously, this
Yeah.
becomes a thing. So if you
Well,
want
the
to go,
students, I mean, if you're
yeah,
talking about that population,
well, but just in general, if you want to go downtown for a night and you want to go see like something at the Straz, and then you want
sure.
to you want to go to the hub afterwards, because why not?
What about Coyote Ugly on 7th Avenue?
Sure, sure, yeah. I mean, getting on the streetcar, but I'm just talking about being downtown. And uh, my husband's on the board at Job Site Theater, which is the resident company at the Straz,
Yeah.
and so we go to the opening nights, and generally, yeah, we'll go out to dinner or we'll go to the hub afterwards because it's kind of later, and then we have to drive home. So like one of us
Mm.
doesn't drink. But to be able to like hop on the bus, or to end a lightning game, get on the streetcar and then hop on the bus, you don't have to live. That's one of the other things that we've been working really hard to do with this particular pilot, is you don't have to live right off the one line. You can park on a street near a bus stop and get on it there.
I didn't even think about that.
We're not asking you to become a bus absolutist. We're not
Mm.
asking you to give up your car. We're saying give it a try, and then, use it recreationally if you don't work downtown. Or if you work downtown, challenge yourself to use it once or twice a week. Or if you're one of those people who it is super close to you, you don't have to use it. So you can save the money you would say that you would spend on parking downtown, and take the bus and then use that money elsewhere in your life.
Yeah, and I also love that it gives people access, easy access to downtown without having to pay the price to
Mhm.
live near downtown, right?
Yeah.
Like this sort of all has to do with housing affordability too. If you can buy a less expensive home sort of outside of the urban core, hey, take the bus into work, right? That's one less cost for you to have to deal with.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
downtown is like, it's like everyone's backyard. It's like everyone's amenity. It's the
Mhm.
whole city's place to go and enjoy. And there's the arts and the restaurants and there's just so many cool things. There's so many reasons to visit downtown. And if you have a free transit service to get there, like, sign me up. It's amazing. I wish it went down Bayshore Boulevard.
Oh, you're gonna start a fight with that one. But no, seriously,
There used to be a streetcar down Bayshore.
yes, yes. And people view streetcars and buses in totally different ways.
Sure.
But here's another fun fact for you. The streetcar, there's been more ridership on Route 1 this year than the streetcar.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Is there a way we could look up the numbers on Route 1?
Um,
Did they put that out?
the last numbers they had out were probably on HART Social. If you go to their Instagram,
Yeah.
they'll have it. It'll be back a little bit, but you can find them. I don't know the last time they did or they published the difference between the streetcar and Route 1, but honestly, just getting people out of their cars, trying this system, like I said, even if it's just for something fun, you're saying, "Oh, okay, I can see how this would work."
I want to try it out.
But
We were going to talk about doing something together. Like we could ride it together, we could
yeah,
promote it, we could film it, show people how
from
it
my
all works.
understanding, that's happening.
That is happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So here you go.
we can talk offline about that. So ridership soared 57.7% in June 2025 versus June 2024. Almost 133,000 trips last month. Whoa.
Now, yeah, June and July were a little bit lower only because high school students, they're off.
Who's Charles James Kelly? You're welcome.
I have no idea.
You're welcome. All right. Shout out Charles
Oh,
James.
maybe because he's riding the bus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There you go.
But
so that's a massive increase.
From the time last year.
From the time last year, but it wasn't free last year, right?
No.
And it didn't have the increased service.
No, but even if the fare is put back on, do you know how much it costs to ride the bus?
$1.50.
That's a great guess. You got a guess?
David? $2.50.
Okay, I've got $1.50 and $2.50. Split the difference. It's $2.
It's $2 to ride the bus.
Now, if you use the same method of payment, because you can just tap credit card, debit card, like all of that. There's apps. If you tap using the same method, your max is $4 a day.
If you tap using the same method.
Yeah. So basically, if you say, I'm using my Visa, so they can track and see that you have used the same card, they will only charge the same card twice a day. So if you hop on and you have a connection, you don't have to pay anymore.
So I could go from my house to downtown to work, go back home, right? Mm-hmm. There's my two payments. I can go back out to dinner for free.
Yep.
Wow. So,
and if you use that same card, there's a monthly max. That's not even that. So if you were to go every day,
is it all set up as an incentive to get more people to ride?
It's an incentive, but it's also sort of a price break because the people who have to ride the bus generally have to ride the bus for a reason. They may not have the financial resources to pay $2 every time.
How does it become both? That's like my thought behind this is we've talked for so long in this community about transportation, and I wouldn't want any form of transportation to be for one type of people, even if it's for low-income people. It's fantastic, but it's like everyone should be able to ride it and be incentivized to ride it. It's like it's great that it's free, but how do you make it? How do you sustain it over long term? You probably have to have a fare.
But that's what you do. That's why this pilot is so important. You get people to try it. All we're asking you to do is to try it. Park near a stop, hop on, take it down, join one of our rides. We always publicize them. You can follow Transit Now Tampa Bay on social, on Instagram and on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's just Lynn Hurtak. And from there, we publicize the rides we're doing.
What's the Master Chief doing on the trolley, David? What the hell was that? Go back.
I'm guessing we just had Comic-Con or some sort of con.
Got a plasma rifle and he's sitting on the trolley. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So this is Transit
one of our
Now
rides.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah. If you go down, right there was that was one of our rides that we took with Seminole Heights and Hampton Terrace.
So people's reaction is positive. I mean, you were saying
they love
people
it.
are like, hey, we're going to hang out here a little longer.
Yeah.
We know how to get home. And
yeah.
Because a lot of transportation in our area, again, there's this negative connotation. We sort of haven't had good transportation outside of vehicular. So it's like there's an education component too.
Yeah.
Like people need to learn how to use this thing.
But that's why we're doing this. That's why
Right.
we're doing these rides. And what we're incentivizing and encouraging people to do is if you liked it, take your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Do an outing yourself. So sometimes people will pop up and say, hey, so this was the ride. We met at Jug and Bottle. We got on the bus. We went to Gen X Tavern, and then we rode it back.
Love it.
Now, that was all the people on the bus.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, they just had a great time. It was a really fun experience. And the more that, so once you know how to do it and you're comfortable doing it, then it becomes, oh, hey, there's a big festival going down at Curtis Hickson. Why don't we take the bus?
Right. I mean, hell yeah. Instead of parking, right? So much easier. So, what other routes? I mean, how do we do this so the entire city can enjoy this? Because obviously, this is downtown north. How do we do it so every neighborhood has access to some sort of transportation outside of a vehicle to go downtown or otherwise?
Well, there is a map of what HART, where HART serves right now. And really, one of the things is, quite frankly, incentivizing and encouraging. I think what I would like to do, like I said to you next with this Route 1, is to have it go longer, increase the frequency so it becomes something people want to use on nights and weekends more, because the frequency of the weekend didn't stay. It was just the night. Or rather, it was just the weekdays. So adding to the frequency, and then from there, again, getting people to try to use it more and more. But from there, picking some different routes. I know we keep talking about downtown to the airport for fixed guide rail. There's a route that does it right now, Route 10.
Oh, 14 does go on Bayshore
Yeah, yeah,
for a section of it.
yeah, for a little bit. But the 10 takes you from downtown to the airport. Its problem, it only runs once an hour.
Damn, scroll down, David. I would literally have to walk miles to get to a bus stop. And by the way, like that doesn't mean I live in an air quote rich part of town. Like I mentioned before, there's a lot of working class people and older people that have lived in that community down there near Ballast Point, South of Gandy for a long, long time.
Yep.
Look at that. Not one bus line, even on the east side of Dale Mabry.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we got a long way to go. So it's like,
But so you asked how to fund it. One of the ways, get people on, get them to try it. The second is to increase the millage that HART can ask for. So right now, it is the smallest amount they can ask for. They can go up to, I don't know if it's a half mil or 3/4 of a mil. I can't remember.
we're tracking this recently. David and I watched
Yes.
the HART board recently
Approved the ability to do that.
The ability,
Yes.
not the millage, but the ability
To put it on the ballot.
to put it on the ballot.
But now it has to go in front of Temple Terrace City Council, Tampa City Council, and the Board of County Commissioners. It does not have to go in front of Plant City because Plant City opted out of HART from the outset.
What's your confidence level with Temple Terrace in the city of Tampa approving something like that?
I don't know about Temple Terrace, but City of Tampa, from the success of the one,
Right.
and then the one of the council members, Bill voted against it because he wanted HART to fund themselves, and so he would support it. So we have at least 5 votes right there. So I believe that City of Council would have no problem with it. Now, County Commission, that's a harder get.
A harder get. But it has to get through the county commission in order to be on the ballot.
Correct.
So the voters can say, yes, we want to fund this.
Yes.
And do we know what we as a community could service with an extra however many points of millage this was? I mean,
well, what we could do first of all is to help fix their fleet maintenance is just absolutely awful. They're trying to get some federal dollars for it. They're helping with that. So I think
they got like 27 million.
Yes,
right?
but they need about double that.
Wow.
So to get the heavy maintenance facility fixed, but really, honestly, it's to buy more buses. Because here's the thing. We could fund the 10 that goes from downtown to the airport. It runs every hour. We could fund it and it wouldn't be that expensive. It's a really short route. But you know why we can't?
Why not?
Because HART only has 2 more buses that they can lend to this effort. That's it. That's all they've got. And with 2 buses, all you can do is 30-minute frequency.
Is there, does the city have the ability to do its own transit system, whether it was some sort of a streetcar, its own little bus system, shuttle, whatever?
They tried the shuttle downtown. I mean, we could, obviously
I guess you could
they're
count
talking
Dash.
about this. Yeah, they're talking about the streetcar, expanding the streetcar, but that's also going to be hundreds of millions of dollars. And again, nothing wrong with it. We should absolutely do that. But the bus is always going to be the faster, cheaper way to do things.
Right.
And that's why I think the Route 10 is really important, because you're showing viability.
I think the problem with the bus too, which we can serve with BRT or can solve with BRT, is the fact that you're sort of sitting in traffic. Like if we
You
had a,
aren't, in a way. That is the magic of the bus.
because you're hanging out, you're on your phone, you're talking to people,
I cannot tell you how much
you're
I
looking out the
get done
window.
in the 20 minutes it takes me to get
Yeah, it's a
from,
good point because you're not driving.
yeah, it is my stress level goes down. I answer my early morning emails because I do not email before coffee. So I coffee before I leave the house and I catch up on my emails. I'm ready to go when I get to work. Yeah, you can listen to podcasts, you can do whatever it is you want to do. But by the time you get to where you're going, you are not stressed because you're not the one worried about the traffic.
Time wise, though, if you had your own dedicated lane, the bus could move so much quicker.
And that's the goal with the BRT.
That's the goal.
We have the lanes. The state government has said we're not allowed to repurpose lanes right now. But, there's definitely, by the time, hopefully, that we can prove that it can be done, we can get something.
The state has said we cannot repurpose lanes for bus rapid transit.
Correct.
Can we repurpose them for other purposes, whether it's like expanding sidewalks, parking?
I don't know. Maybe, but not for bus rapid transit. And
Got it.
yeah, they weren't really happy with what happened with the Sunrunner and it being fare free, and people at the beaches were concerned about houseless people being on the Sunrunner.
Got it. Yeah. Well,
and that's why
it's a refuge from the Florida heat.
It is. But ultimately, you are right. We have to be able to sustain it with fares.
I just like the idea that you can see the path in front of you with this particular project. Like you've had this initiative, it's fare free for a year, you've increased the level of service. I like that there's steps. The next step is finding, additional funding sources, potentially funding it for longer, making it more frequent, making it go later into the night, then BRT, and again, decades down the road, but some sort of a fixed rail system that can get a lot of people very quickly, very, very quickly from USF down to downtown.
But here's the thing. If you have a rail, it goes, I don't know, along the interstate, say, because that makes sense. You got the right of way there. Goes on along the interstate. What happens when you get off of it?
Well, if we're talking rail, I was thinking streetcar, not your traditional streetcar that we have here in Tampa, a more modern version that's quicker, faster, more comfortable, air conditioned, etc. That could go along Florida, that could have stops in Seminole Heights. So in the same way you would take a bus, you could take the streetcar. I think in Tampa, streetcar is like a different thing.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter. I mean, in the current streetcar, what happens what happens when you get off of fixed rail? You got to get to your final destination.
Yeah.
Most people don't live off the streetcar. They need to take a bus to get to their final destination. So it's important to have the branches ready too, because the other thing we could do with Route 10 is expand it to where Brightline's going to come.
Just take it further east.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Be a connector to the Brightline, because really what people need is the Brightline to the airport. So when the Brightline survey was done, the place that people wanted it connected to most was the airport. That can never happen. You know why?
No, why?
Because the Orlando International Airport is on the route, and they have said that they agreed to do it only if no other airports would be in competition.
That's I don't understand that, because if I could take a quick train to Orlando, there's a hell of a lot of international flights out of Orlando and a hell of a lot of other flights that you can't take from Tampa. So it's interesting that I would even imagine like the Tampa International Airport would be the ones advocating against that, because they might lose passengers to Orlando.
I mean, honestly, if Tampa had done it first, they would have done the same thing.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's just competitive. It's just the way it works. So our best bet is just simply to connect them.
Well,
and
again,
that's fine. If you hop off the Brightline and you get on a bus or eventually fixed guide rail that will take you to the airport, that's fine. That does the exact same thing. And so there's really no reason. Again, this is one of those things where It's already there. Yeah, maybe that's not the greatest thing, but it's already in place. What do we do to work around that? And the
Well,
workaround is just to find a better way to connect.
like you said earlier, the bus is the least expensive and quickest thing you can get
Yeah,
done. I mean, the service is already there. You're just simply expanding it by what, 20 blocks?
sure. And again, I also look at the bus as a great way to show where should these be,
Ah,
what we can do. Because the
that's a
as you
great
said,
point.
the rail on the interstate, Florida mirrors the interstate. And if we were ever to get fixed guide rail in the median, in the right of way, you've already proving the concept.
What if bus route 1, that same route, became a fixed rail on a lane of traffic?
Florida Avenue belongs to the Florida Department of Transportation. So you
So the same answer to that is the same answer to what about BRT on Florida Avenue?
somewhat, but FDOT supports the BRT to some end. I mean, they've done the study, they support it. It's just about the legislature and getting that being able to reconfigure a lane. But by and large, Florida Avenue, I don't expect that to ever be a lane that could be taken over for fixed rail. Now, I mean, completely. I could be wrong. I know they're working on the fixed rail for extension of the streetcar. Maybe that becomes so successful that we can get it done. But I think that's sort of light years ahead.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, that's why we can't wait and say, oh, well, we're just going to wait for us to get fixed rail.
Right.
Because we have to have the branches of the tree.
I totally agree. And I think you're so right to say it sort of all starts with this. And the idea that these different routes, making them free and making them accessible and frequent, you can sort of, I say without investing a lot of money, all of it's a lot of money, right? But without investing a crazy amount of capital, you can start to test these different routes,
Yeah.
which is so
Absolutely.
good because before you did a $300 million, streetcar extension project, you kind of want to know where the people are going to want to
Yep.
ride it.
Well, interestingly enough, HART is actually about to go out and do a public survey campaign because they have gone through they've looked at where they can find efficiencies, and some of those will result in changes of routes. So all this starting, I believe, next month and on through toward the end of the year, they are going to be going out to the public and saying, hey, we're looking at possibly changing this route. What do you think? Some of
Mm,
the routes are going to, I don't know if some might go away altogether, but some might be reconfigured. Some might change frequency. So definitely, if you are interested in that, you might want to have somebody from HART on.
yeah, yeah.
If
If
you
anyone
haven't had
from Hart is
Scott
listening, let me
Drainville,
know. We've reached out a
he's
couple times.
yeah, just talking about that in particular. If you want to focus on those
Sure.
changes and what those changes can do, that is a definite area where we need to hear from people
Yeah.
so HART can know what to do, but also we need to know what to do. Traditionally, the city hasn't funded the bus. This is a new thing for us, and the city has a lot of stuff to fund, but I truly believe this is what we hear over and over again. We want transportation. We want transportation in this city. Traffic has become a nightmare, and anybody you can get on a bus is one fewer person in a car.
Yeah. Well, Bill's point about how Hart should fund its own bus, that is kind of logical. I do think that with what you've done is such a no-brainer for such a small investment to get bus route 1 free. I mean, to have the city pay for that sounds like an easy, quick, and the right
Mhm.
thing to do. Whether that's sustainable and long term or you're adding routes and what that looks like
Yeah,
in 5 years, that's a different set of questions.
absolutely. And that's where that property tax increase comes into play. The
Right.
mill, also, being able to get federal dollars to help with some things has also been very helpful. But yeah, there's the balance of the fare. It's not uncommon in cities for you only have to pay a couple of twice a day, and then the rest of it's free. That's not a Tampa thing. That's kind of a bus system thing.
Mm.
And also just buying a monthly pass and doing all these things to, getting employers to pay for a monthly pass. Just there's all sorts of things we can do once we get the frequency up a bit, but really it's the dollars for the frequency.
And I wonder if there's anywhere around the country, around the world that does a bus system differently to encourage ridership that's outside of making it free or frequent. Like, I wonder, that could be anything. I mean, right? Whether that's like the design of the bus, if it's comfortable, maybe they play fun music, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, I wonder if we could reach outside of our region and our state to look at areas that have successful bus transportation systems that, I don't know, might fit in here.
Yeah, but pretty much all of them, it's not necessarily free, but it's frequency. And
Frequency.
frequency
Yeah.
and to be honest, it is expensive because it's more buses and it's more drivers. But the 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 payout is much greater. I mean, the fare generally, I mean, fare free is great. It's great for a pilot, but in a system that needs the funding, I don't see that staying fare free forever. There's not, because also there's more routes. Like, what do you do about those routes? So really just trying to focus on this first route. And by the way, Route 1 touches 70% of the rest of the network.
That's crazy.
So it also is a really good route to be focused on.
Right.
And by doing that, we can try to go further. I mean, USF, I've got some folks there who've been working on trying to expand it to be on campus itself, and doing that would just be a feather in the cap. But there are definite ways. Route 1, increased transportation throughout this city. This is a small step, and getting people to give it a try, or at least saying, okay, well, I might not write it, but I'm glad I did this test so I can see that, yeah, it works for people.
Extending the streetcar. What's your anticipation with that? I mean, do you see that actually moving forward?
I think the RIA grant can help with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. RIA can help with that. It's still going to be massively
Can you explain what
expensive.
that is so people
Their
understand?
regional infrastructure accelerator. So basically, it's we won $1 million grant from the federal government to kind of kickstart it and take a look at programs and projects that are already ready to go. And one of them is the streetcar expansion. And what that does, the regional infrastructure accelerator helps. It's the federal government saying, here, we're going to help you get either low to no interest loans, work on public-private partnerships, do all sorts of, it's different funding mechanisms than are traditionally used to try to do some of these projects in whole instead of piecemeal. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, because when you look at the numbers, I don't know, David, can you pull that up? We posted about it. We've got some data on there. But it's exciting to look at because all the projects are the ones that we've talked about here for a
Yeah.
long time. And it sounds like what this does is set up funding sources to actually accomplish them.
It helps us find funding. And ideally, it's cheaper funding than we could have gotten on our own.
Like meaning bond sources?
Yes. Yeah. Our traditional ways. And our traditional ways are fine. We have phenomenal credit ratings. We get the best rates we can. But we traditionally can't do it all at once.
See what people are saying? I'll believe it when I see it. Scroll down, David.
Yeah, no, I read through these, and it's, people really want this. People want to be connected. And the way, one of the things is getting the people mover off the airport property. Well,
yeah,
that's the connector to downtown. But the number around that is, I want to say like 200 million.
It might be more than that. Go to the other slide where it shows you the numbers.
800. Sorry. Wow.
$800 million. So,
but what's not $800 million? A bus.
God, what could HART do with $800 million?
Yeah. I mean, we could have unbelievable service.
But HART, right? It's not like HART is just exclusively for buses, right? Doesn't HART have the capacity? I mean, aren't they kind of
They do the streetcar.
But HART is supposed to be the transportation authority. Like, they're not just supposed to do buses. They're supposed to have a holistic look about transportation, right? I mean,
sure, but,
in our region.
But there's just no funding for it.
There's no funding.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like 800 million, maybe then they could have the conversation about a streetcar extension. They could have a conversation about some sort of a fixed ride to the airport.
But this is like we were talking about with stormwater, with maintenance and capital projects. Sure. This money is for capital. It is not for the day-to-day maintenance, and that's what they need the money for. So in expanding that mill, that could be for operating. And that's what we need. We need to be able to get more buses. We need to be able to hire more drivers. It's the operating expenses. It's fixing up the bus stops.
So let me ask you this, and feel free to answer it however you want without getting yourself in too much trouble. But then wouldn't it make complete sense, given this entire conversation, that it's a no-brainer to increase that millage so that HART can get some of these foundational services and lines and
Sure. I believe that.
right.
But I mean, there are people on the county commission that don't agree with that.
And it has to get through that county commission to be placed on the ballot.
It does.
That's an interesting thing. I mean, so it can't go straight to the people.
Mm-mm.
Hillsborough County has to decide, those county commissioners have to decide to put that on the ballot.
Well, that's part of HART's charter, is that in order to increase the millage, it has to go in front of all of its governing bodies.
Got it.
Or all of its member governments.
Which, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a poor idea. It's just, this is again where the public comes in. Like, if you want this done,
Be
reach
vocal.
out.
Yeah.
Reach out to the county commissioners whose votes you think you can sway, and say, hey, this is really important to us, just to be able to get the option to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, like an all for transportation tax might again possibly be on the horizon. But in the meantime, just getting this millage increased, being able to get the bus to run more frequently, which then will get more people to ride it. I mean, it is not a chicken or egg thing. There are steps to go to get more people on a bus.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, if we're starving the bus system, and we're saying that basically what we're saying is that if you drive a car, we just don't care about your traffic situation. We don't care. And that's what people who don't want to expand the bus service are saying. Because we're not expanding roads in the city of Tampa. There's nowhere for them to go. If you want to expand a road, if you want to expand Florida Avenue, you know what you're doing? You're getting rid of small businesses.
Right. A lot of them too. And that's probably gonna cost even more money. You're gonna have to do eminent domain, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take all that property.
And so there's just, it's not feasible.
Mm-hmm.
We can do whatever we can to improve the light timing. I've been working really hard to find an answer to block the box, and it seems impossible. But I'm working on it. Blocking the box is when when someone goes through traffic
Tampa PD.
and stops. Yeah, but we can't pay our officers to sit at every intersection.
No, but I think following traffic laws is frankly a responsibility that should be taken seriously, because
I agree.
People make illegal turns and they block the intersection, and that screws up traffic, especially
Yes.
during the rush hours.
It does. And I've actually talked to Chief Bennett about this recently, about, we have phenomenal safety numbers in this city. We are very blessed. We have a police department that is doing a phenomenal job. Like, our quality of life and our safety here is pretty phenomenal. But so now we're really looking at those quality of life issues. And so I asked, I said, is there a way we could just get a little bit more? Can we just do a little bit more traffic stops? Can we just do a little bit more, like, focus on the people running stop sign, whatever it is? Because that's what we're getting in council right now, is people are speeding through our neighborhood. And you're right. Enforcement really helps with that. But there are traffic calming measures we can also do, like the fact that we can do speed bumps again, adding more stop signs. It helps, but unless people follow the stop sign.
Again, enforcement, but also like on Dale Mabry, when people are making a left-hand turn over the double yellow, they sit in the middle of traffic, cars back up, intersection backs up. I mean, I think there's ways with technology today, this becomes easier. Maybe, and I'm not saying red light cameras at every intersection. I'm saying algorithms that predict levels of traffic that have light timing indicators, it's stuff like that. Like, there's probably ways to implement technology in our already existing grid that would improve the flow of traffic.
And we do a little bit of that every year, but it's also very expensive. So trying to get a little bit.
So let me ask you this, which is based on that right there. Like, is that I don't want to say the whole job, but most of what you do, it sounds like, is deciding what gets spent where, because everything we've talked about today, well, it's expensive, right? Everything costs a ton of money.
Yeah.
Nothing is, I mean, do you even have anything that comes across your desk that's like $150,000?
Sure, we get things from time to time.
Just as like a contract for
Yeah.
something
Oh,
small
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, and you're always like, ooh. I mean, I still look at
It's like a relief when you see something.
well, I still look at every single thing. Like,
Only 5 zeros. Wow, that's
yeah, yeah, and you're like, ooh, yay, that's and actually you make a point to say, wow, that's great, congratulations. But yeah, I mean, I read every contract. I look at everything that comes in front of us. That's really the most important part of my job, is to read and make sure that on the consent agenda, it's basically the money, like what goes in and goes out. It's our little, it's the checkbook, and you got to look at it, and you ask the questions. Okay, what is this going toward? How is this being spent? How is this? What are we getting from this?
right.
And oh, this is an annual contract, and it's going up this much this year, or it's going down this much this year, or well, they never go down, but there's no increase. And so the staff works really hard on those contracts. I mean, sometimes we win and sometimes we don't.
Sure.
But yeah, there's every little bit is important, and that's the hard part. That's the balance.
Well, look at what a little bit has done for Route 1. And if you can save certain money here and there and put it towards a project like Bus Route 1, maybe in a few years that adds up to 3 different routes we've got that are increased in frequency, no level of fare. Then we really start to move the needle. Like focusing on those dollars and cents like you're doing is so important for that reason. Because if you can find, air quote, right, money that can be used for some cool project like that actually can move the needle on transportation, that's a game changer.
Well, it really comes down to priorities and what citizens prioritize. And we didn't even touch today on housing. And that is, it's transportation, it's affordable housing, it's types of housing.
I'm so glad you recognize transportation as a component in affordable housing.
Oh, absolutely, because that goes to Route 1 as well.
Right.
There's so many people that live within a quarter mile of Route 1 that can then spend more money on their rent.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was fare free, but just still being close to a bus stop.
Just even giving up a vehicle, like David, when he moved here, we've told the story before on the show, but it's like David, is at Gasworks. He's got the trolley. He and his wife had 2 vehicles. Because of where they live, they were able to give up a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And it's like if a family or a couple or even an individual could make a decision and give up a vehicle, you're going to save a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
Enabling you to potentially live in a better location or just afford where you live now.
You know how much it costs to own a car?
Yeah, just bought a new one. I can believe it.
$12,000 a year on average.
I asked the guy, I'm like, because I got like a 9% or 8% interest rate and I have decent credit. And I'm like, what's your average? And he's like, people are paying 12, 15% interest. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not sustainable. This is crazy.
Well, and that's another reason Route 1 is so important, because we're seeing this come. We're seeing,
right.
I mean, we've been really insulated from some of the stuff that's going on nationally here financially, but the car thing keeps looming. The cost of it, the fact that even used cars are expensive now, interest, or rather insurance rates and interest, quite frankly. Like, I hadn't heard that number, 9%. Wow. But then again, we bought our car and paid it off. We have, I want to say our car is, I think it's 13 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
And but both of us worked from home. So my husband and I work from home. We only needed one car. And so we've had this one car and we won't get another car. My husband's a big car head, so he wants another car. And I'm like, absolutely not.
He's
like,
itching for it. 13 years. Oh my God. He's like, we're long overdue. Please.
Yes. Oh, he just, yeah. My mom travels for the summer and she leaves her car with us. And so he gets to drive her car. And he's like, it has like touch stuff. And I was like,
but there's no CD player 13 years ago. Oh my God. Listen, this was really fun today, but it's a little past 3. I know you have an appointment.
Yeah.
I want to let you run. We could talk for hours about, we didn't even talk about affordable housing, all this other stuff. So you'll have to come back at some point.
Absolutely would love to.
But I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
You talked about some great stuff today. Can people get in touch with you? I know people email council about certain issues
Absolutely. You
and
can email us anytime. I'm the best way to reach me is probably my city email, which is just my name, lynn.hurtak@tampagov.net. tampagov.net. And you can follow me on social. I'm more active on Instagram than anything. My one thing that I do want to talk about though, when you're talking about transportation, is bikes. I do a every other Sunday morning ride. It's called Easy Sunday Morning Ride.
mm,
And it starts in Seminole Heights at Henry and Ola. And we hop on our bikes and we learn how to ride the city.
love it. I'll have to join you. Let me
Yeah.
write that down.
It's on my Instagram. Our next
We'll find
ride
it.
is August 31st.
Beautiful.
And so, yeah, we had to cancel the last one because it was just too hot. But we have been riding in the summer. We start at 8. In the winter, we go a little later. But yeah, we have been going. We've done the current West Riverwalk, what's available. We've done downtown. We've done Marion Street, which is actually not Marion. I'm sorry. Let's see. So, the loop, the Riverwalk loop. There is a loop. We've done the Greenway. We've done also the Green Artery. We've done so we've done all sorts of really fun rides. Also, if we're heading downtown, we will have a stop sometimes to meet people at Cass, so folks can hop on at the Riverwalk right there.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Love it.
it just started as a casual thing because a lot of my neighbors were asking me how do you get around the city, and people were just afraid to do so on a bike. And so I thought this is a great way to get people who want to learn how to be a cyclist. And it's been a really fun. I've met a lot of new cool people.
Very cool. Lynn Hurtak, LYNNHURTAK on Instagram. Hit her up, people. Lynn, thank you very much. I
Thanks so much
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
All right. That's it. Bye, everybody.